The results are in. A night of big wins for Democrats Tuesday as both New Jersey and Virginia elected a new governor. Take a look. Democrat Abigail Spanberger defeated Republican Winsome Earl-Sears in Virginia, and Mikey Sherrill defeated Jack Citarelli in New Jersey.
Another key vote we were watching last night was California Prop 50. We'll take a closer look at that vote later on in the show. But the big news of the night, possibly the most watched race of the year, Zohran Mamdani won the New York City's mayor race handily, a little less than 9 points ahead of runner-up Andrew Cuomo. Here's Mamdani after the race was called.
My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change. A mandate for a new kind of politics. A mandate for a city we can afford. And a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that.
Now, that defeat of a political dynasty seemed to be a common theme among the left last night. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had this to say following Mamdani's win.
We're not just tasked with defeating a Republican. They were also tasked with defeating the old guard of the Democratic Party that essentially led us to many of the perils of this moment. So he had a two-front war to win, which is what makes his victory so deeply impressive.
Not everyone is enthusiastic about this Democratic new guard, of course. CNN's Scott Jennings lamented Mamdani's win on air last night. Take a listen.
This is a terrible night for national Democratic image, given what is happening inside their party. Mamdani is an avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is, it's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy, and Chuck Schumer's
He's the leader of the Democratic Party?
Let's swear.
There is no. Who is the leader? Can someone tell me?
As for that Democratic old guard, they at least seem to be supportive. Former President Obama offered his praise across the board, writing on X, "Congratulations to all the Democratic candidates who won tonight. It's a reminder that when we come together around strong, forward-looking leaders who care about the issues that matter, we can win. We've still got plenty of work to do, but the future looks a little bit brighter."
Well, good night for the Dems. Republicans got their clocks cleaned. Should qualify that by noting that these
cleaned. I haven't heard that one.
You heard that one?
That's pretty funny.
In blue, these are blue states. Virginia, in particular, goes back and forth like crazy. It's unusual for the governor position to remain in the hands of the incumbent party. Winsome Earl-Sears, the Republican in Virginia, had a lot going against her because, Virginia is a blue state, and it's a state with a lot of government employees. The north part of Virginia, Washington, D.C., it's the suburbs of Washington, D.C., where a lot of federal employees live, is actually in Virginia. And so the shutdown, what's happening nationally, their frustration with Trump, I'm not sure how much that matters nationally. In Virginia, it certainly matters a great deal. So not at all surprises here go down. Jay Jones, the Attorney General, was a little bit of a major disappointment to Republicans that they couldn't keep the Republican Attorney General, Jason Miyares, in power, given that Jay Jones, the opponent, had been in that scandal where he said those really vile things about wanting children to die. His win was much narrower than Spanberger's, but he did win, and so I saw a lot of disappointment about that, and then also disappointment that they couldn't pick up the New Jersey governor seat, even though that one was pretty close last time. Wasn't even that close. So disappointments for the GOP, certainly.
I was looking at Winsome Earl-Sears in this race because she's somebody who campaigned and has allied herself with President Trump in the past, and he didn't throw any support behind her in any way.
Well, no, she's a DeSantis person.
Well,
and he remembers that.
Well, that's what I mean. But that's still his candidate. Did Republicans want the overall?
He didn't do anything to help her.
He didn't help her in any way. I mean, not that.
He didn't want to associate with her.
Just because she thought DeSantis, who he also thought was a good person during the time of COVID. Now, obviously, when you challenge him, that changes. But
Yeah, he didn't do anything for her. I don't think he didn't think she could win, and she was not going to win. So it was a smart prediction on his part. The broader problem for Republicans, I think, that this shows, even though you didn't win Virginia, you didn't win New Jersey. Oh well, that's not some massive upset, really. It's just we got our expectations up. The problem for Republicans is, this is now a demonstrated phenomenon. Trump is a motivating factor for Republicans, low propensity Republicans to show up and vote. When Trump's on the ballot, the party does better. When Trump's not on the ballot, the the party does a lot worse. And this is going to be a problem because Steve Bannon's fantasies aside, Trump is not going to be on the ballot ever again. And that is an issue Republicans are going to have to learn to deal with. How to motivate those more marginal voters who, I mean, Trump won the popular vote in the last election.
Yep.
Everybody votes. If everybody in America had voted, had been forced to vote, Trump's margin of victory probably would have been higher. That's according to expert analysis. When people turn out to vote, it helps Trump. But in an off-year election where Trump's not actually on the ballot, Democrats have a massive advantage. And of course, Trump will not be on the ballot again. So that is the major concern, major red flag for Republicans, in my view.
There were conversations a few years ago about a red wave, and people are now describing this as a blue tsunami. I think that people...
Tsunami?
Yeah, well, this actually happened. I think there was a dialogue about what happens.
What can blue do for you?
But I think this is people looked at this as what are the next steps for the Democratic Party, with a party that is always accused, and even by myself, of not having an exact direction. I think there's a real thing about, on the other hand of that coin, on the other side of that coin, of Trump fatigue. And so when he is in power, it does motivate people to vote. We can use New York as a specific example. They had the highest early in-person voter turnout of history of all time. They also had the highest turnout since 1969 for an election, for a mayoral election. So these are all numbers that we're seeing. We also know a youth vote hit a record of coming out, and they were involved and engaged in ways we haven't seen in a long time. And so if you're looking at New York and seeing what they're doing and always talking about how large swaths of both parties could do better with younger voters, you'll see, and I know that doesn't mean you care about the younger voters. I'm saying that parties do care. Well, AOC was right on point. She's saying, we are tired of the establishment candidates, and we are being loud and clear. As somebody who's propelling her career and considered a star within the Democratic Party, she's making a point by attaching herself so closely to Mamdani, who also shares a lot of her ideologies. And I think that it is a point. And Scott Jennings, he doesn't need to be the most concerned person up there. Democrats need to be more concerned than him to see if they want this to be the direction, and explain why, if not, they're not embracing it. Because Mamdani did win. I thought he was going to win by double digits. Obviously, he didn't. But because there's still enough people in New York and around the country that want a middle ground.
A win. It was a comfortable win.
It was comfortable, but it wasn't.
Some people are like Bill Ackman and others who really wanted to defeat Mamdani are so mad that Sliwa wouldn't get out of the race and make it, clear the path for Cuomo. If every Sliwa voter had voted for Cuomo, it's not even. It wouldn't have been enough.
And some people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I'm going to talk about soon in my lens, said that as if she was a New Yorker, she would not vote for Cuomo. She said as a woman, and to see those accusations that were lobbied against him, she wouldn't feel comfortable going to a voting booth. As somebody who had so many discrepancies with how COVID was handled by a lot of Democrats, how can you go in there and tell somebody to vote for Cuomo? You're asking people to go against some really key issues for them that were Republicans, and you're not going to see all 8% or whatever he ended up with go to Cuomo anyway. So they just needed to drop that idea anyway and come forward with policies. That was the biggest thing. People might not like Mamdani's policies. He came forward with them.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, because we gotta go. I don't usually watch cable news anymore. I see the clips as they make their way onto social media, but I don't turn the TV on and actually have on MSNBC or CNN. But it was election night, so I did last night. Watched a lot of CNN and MSNBC. CNN's coverage was excellent. I thought it was fantastic.
Wow.
MSNBC's was unwatchable, and they were just so obsessed with the idea that it's the East Wing demolition, which is what motivated everyone to come out and vote for Democrats.
Okay, even I had many lenses about that.
Do not think that will stop a voter's mind. I don't think they even are aware it is going on to a great extent. But still ahead, Sean Duffy sounding the alarm as the government shutdown stretches into the longest in history. His warning for lawmakers next.